Welcome back to VJ Tech Talks. In the last session, we saw how to write our first Python basic program. And we understand what are the key steps we should follow when we are writing a Python program, right? And if you haven't watched my previous video, I strongly recommend you to watch that session before we start this. Today, we will focus on different types of data types in Python programming. Before we start our session, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would recommend you to subscribe to my channel. Try to understand constants and variables. Basically, for the constants, generally the people used to say in other programming languages, literals. What does it mean? What is the constant? What is the meaning of constants? The constants is nothing but anything which fixed values. Anything the fixed values, we call it as a constants. And variables. The variables is something that which may change over the time. The variable, you can, if you see the vary, it means change, right? The variable means the value may change at any point in time. That's why we call it as a constants and variables. So there are different types of comments we have. There are different types of comments. So comments are different types, as we can see here, the single line comments and double quotes comments and also single quote comments. But these are all, what is the purpose of having these in the Python programming? In fact, in other programming languages also we have a different types of comments, right? But what is the benefit out of this one we are getting it? If we are not following this, what's going to happen? There is no hard thumb rule. We must follow these comment sections. And if you have this one in your programming, this is beneficial for the people who are all reading your program. Let's say I'm writing like this, adding two numbers. Right? This is one comment. It's a kind of a documentation of your programming. It's a nice way to write your programming. That Python, it won't throw any error. It won't kill your program. Even though if you're writing, if you don't want to write this comment section, it won't bother you. This will execute the whatever you're expecting the output, the same result you will get it. But if you follow this, it's industry standards. If you follow these comments, this definitely it's helpful for the team, and also it is helpful for the people who are all reviewing your code in the real world projects. So these are all different ways to where you can write the comments. Okay. Now let's move on to the next. As I was saying that, so if somebody asks you to find what sort of data you're holding it, what sort of data you're operating with, what sort of data you're processing it, but how you can go somewhere, it has to be stored, right? To identify the types of data, right? Basically the data types are, it tend to identify the type of data. Then why we should identify the type of data? What is the benefit of it? So basically I can say that we know that we have numbers and float numbers and strings. We have different types of data types. You keep on, you're hearing this one ages, right? why we should learn this, why we should learn this one. Basically, let's think of, I'm giving this is number, this is also number, and I can say, okay, this is the string. Just think of how basically your machines will understand what sort of data this is. You know that these data types, this data, the whatever you're giving here in the programming, it has to be stored somewhere in the memory. The memory means it's a RAM, right? It has to be stored in the RAM to process while executing of this program, any program, right? So here we have number one, right? The number one means that how much memory bytes it will allocate to holding this value in the memory, right? I can say, let's say 4 bytes, and I can say this is 8 bytes. Let's say 7 bytes. See, if you look at this one actually, so these are all, we know that this is the number, this is the number, this is also number, this is a kind of a alpha numeric, you can say the string, right? It's a characters, right? So we have all these things, but if you look at that memory side, the allocation is different, right? The allocation is different. This is the reason why we should specify the what sort of the data, the what sort of data you're operating with, so that accordingly it will allocate, that machine will allocate the memory to operate, like, to do the process, the further process, right? That's what it means actually. So data types are essential for the programming to understand. The machine should understand the what sort of data you're operating with, right? So there are different types of data types here. As per me, there are 2 types of data types, only 2. What are those? I can say numbers and strings, right? All the data types with typically, like, numbers and strings, isn't it? That all the data types are typically it's numbers on strings. Then but what are those? What are those numbers? What are those strings? I would say, like, here, simple data types, advanced data types. The simple data types are int, float, string, complex, and Boolean. These are all simple data types. And advanced data types: list, tuple, dictionary, and sets. These are all the advanced data types. So let's think of it like, we'll discuss one by one. First, we'll talk about int. What is the style of declaring the int data type in Python programming? So basically, if you are from the programming background, if you are familiar with any other programming languages, basically what we do, int, in other programming, int x equal to 10, something like this we will write, right? Basically, we no need to declare anything in the Python programming. Directly you can assign a value to the value to variable. Let's say x equal to 10. So if you execute this will take a while, just connecting to the virtual environment to execute. So we're able to execute now, right? Let me print. It's 10, right? So let's say I would like to know that what sort of data it is, what sort of data I'm operating with. Just type a type function. Okay. So if you're trying to understand, like, type of data I'm operating with, see here, it's written string, right? Let's say x equal to 1.5. And let me do one thing, just print type function x, just I'm printing this variable, see, float. I'm not declaring anything. I just said in the last, like, we have a different types of built-in functions. We have, you can also type here, built-in Python functions. Yeah, see, they're all built-in Python functions. I need to memorize all these things. You need to practice all the functions here. So typically this, just try to understand how to use the functions here, the major, useful functions. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next. It's a string, right? What is string? The string data type is basically, typically what I can say, how you can say that it's a string data type. Anything which is enclosed between the single quotes and double quotes, and also multi-single quotes, multi-double quotes. Let's say anything enclosed within the single quotes and double quotes or a triple quotes, I can say that it is a string. Let me try to write one statement here. X equal to Vijay. I will say this and print type function. So it's a string. Okay, let me try to write like this. What's going to happen? We'll see the same. Just I'm experimenting here. See, this is double coded and single coded, and also I will try to write a triple quotes also. We'll see what's going to happen. And also I will try to write in another experiment here. 3 double quotes. See, in all these possible cases, like, you can see that, see, the same thing which we can use it for the comments also, right? For the documentation purpose. But here, see, but even the same way, the multi-purpose, you can use the same way, you can assign the string values to the variable. Understand? So I hope you got this point, right? So you can see, then you might be wondering, like, this is, you have a single code. I can give the name here, and we have this is the pattern we are following to assign the string values, right? Then what is the use of this triple quotes? What is the use of these triple quotes? Typically, just think of it. So let me write it down like this. Just we see what's going to happen. Vijay Tech Talks. See, this will fail now. Vijay, enter, and just I'm writing this in the Tech Talks in the other line, in the second line. But this, see, this is not able to execute because it's a syntax error here. The same way here, I will write down the same thing. See, second line, Tech Talks. Let me execute here. See, it's able to execute. The reason behind that, the double quotes and also single quotes, this accepts a single line. You can write like this. Okay, this way it works. This way it works. But whereas, like, if you want to write the multiple things, like multiple strings, multiple lines of strings, trying to assign it to the one single variable, it won't accept like this. You must use the triple quotes, either of this or either of this. One of this one you must use, so that the Python will recognize this is the whole as a single string to assigning to the variable. That's how it's typically it works. Okay. Then move on to the next. Int, float, string. The next one is the complex. What is complex? Complex numbers are, it's a special type of data type. Generally, we use these complex numbers are in the crucial projects like, NASA projects, or just launching the rockets. When you're writing a program to the rockets and all, there we will use. So what is the use of this complex number? Also, you can say complex numbers. If we are from, so this is what I typically, it looks like, the complex number. And I can write it down. Okay, we'll see it here. Yeah, see, the complex number, they typically here in the mathematically, we will say a plus bi, but whereas in Python programming, basically how we can write a complex number, I can show you that. Complex numbers. 1 plus, basically this is the way we have to declare 1 plus 2j. you're playing with a complex number, this is how you must write the complex number. Okay, let me try to identify this is the complex number or not. See, this is the complex number. If I try to write this one is something else, I or something else, just let me execute. See, this will throw an error. Number, if you really want to learn something about the complex number, I think if you are from the mathematical background, and I think it is easy for you to understand what is the complex number, what is the use of this one, okay? And this is the wiki page. I can leave this link in our video description. If you have a time, you can just have a look on it. What is this complex number? How basically this is useful in the mathematical world, okay? Even in the statistical side as well, we won't use this much of this complex numbers. Hardly we will use this one actually, okay? So that's what it is, a complex number. The last and final data type we have Boolean. The Boolean data type, as we know that it's simple, either true or false. Either true or false. Right? X equal to true. Okay, let me write like this. We'll see what's going to happen. Print. This will fail. See, the true in the Python programming, the true, it should start with the capital letter. The T should start with the capital letter. Okay. Now we are good with the data types. I hope you got a basic understanding of the data types. You can, it's no worries. This is sufficient for you to write a programming language. And see, the Python, you don't need to declare anything like this what type of data you're playing with. Directly, you can assign value to the variables and you can play with that. Python is smart enough to understand what sort of data you're playing with. Okay, we have all these types of data types. Then still, why do we need advanced data types? What is the need of the advanced data types? That we will discuss. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and click on bell icon for the latest upcoming series of videos. And see you in the next video. Bye-bye.